Hi everyone, welcome back to Gdaynamaste. I hope you enjoyed last week's video on the 10 anonymous questions that I answered through the NGL app. If you haven't watched it yet, it's up top so you can have a look. While I was filming that, one of the questions I got was if I had any plans to move back to Australia. So you can see my answer in that video, but it really got me thinking about being homesick here. And, it's something as an expat in any country or a foreigner in India, any foreigner or any expat in India can understand that getting homesick is inevitable. And it's been happening a lot more lately because it's been almost 3.5 years since I've been back and I'm just really homesick. So today's video, I'm going to talk about 5 ways to handle homesickness. All right, so number one is a really, really cool application, and also it's a website you can look at on your computer. It's called Radio Garden. Basically what it is, it's an like a radio kind of platform, and you can tune into almost any radio station across the world. So whenever I'm feeling homesick, I actually just turn on Radio Garden on my phone through the app, or I'll be at my computer listening, tuning in on there. And I choose a Brisbane radio station that I used to listen to back when I lived there. And it's actually so funny because some of the presenters are still the same. The weather presenter on one of the stations is still the same as it was 4 years ago or whenever I used to drive to the office. And yeah, so I love doing that. I love listening to the like after work radio programs or whatever time I'm listening to it. And it made me realize, the first time I used it, it made me realize that I don't laugh as much as I used to in Australia. And I think it's just because the humor here is very different. I laugh, but listening to some of the Australian humor, the types of calls that would come in, or the stories people would say when they would call into the station, or even the presenters of the different programs, them just having their usual chit chat, it was so funny. And yeah, so that's definitely something that has helped me probably the most, is just tuning in, hearing the Australian accent, hearing the same ads being played as they did when I lived in Australia. Yeah, so that's really, really, really cool. Also, I pay for a VPN application, and I usually always use the log into Australia. When I listen to Spotify, I get the Australian Spotify ads. And it's little things like that. I was at the gym last week and a McDonald's ad came on, and I gave my headphone to Sunil and I was like, do you want to hear an Australian McDonald's ad? Stuff like that. It just seems really cheesy, but it's really helpful. Number 2 on the list is watching Australian TV shows or Australian YouTube channels. So my Apple account is actually, it's got my Australian address because it's connected to my Australian bank card and everything. I can download the free-to-air TV apps, so I can watch the Australian TV shows without having to go through YouTube and stuff, or try and find it online. So yeah, I can watch Australian TV shows as they come on the TV or whenever they're released on the app. Again, the Australian humour, hearing the accent, hearing them talk about places that I know. Oh, it helps so much. I was watching Pack to the Rafters. I think it's, or Back to the Rafters. It's the Pack to the Rafters sequel. I never even watched Pack to the Rafters, the first series, but I was watching that, I think, on Netflix. Also, just quickly, if you use an Australian VPN, you can watch Australian Netflix. So yeah, I was watching that show. I don't remember where it was. It was Amazon Prime. I don't know, one of those platforms. And just them talking about places in Sydney, or driving down a highway somewhere. And yeah, I actually knew those places, and it just really warmed my soul. Also, YouTube channels. My in-laws love watching outdoor, any sort of videos, YouTube videos about outdoor adventures, fishing, hiking, trekking, anything. They don't even care if they can't understand it, if it's in English. And on our TV, we have YouTube on there. So they'll just, when they come here, we always just put YouTube on for them. And a while ago we were watching this Australian kid. He must be like 19, and he's out fishing by himself, staying on a beach by himself out in the ocean, and just even watching that kind of stuff. And I was translating to my in-laws, like, he's saying this or he's saying that, or this is where he is. And just to see the beautiful beaches of Australia and his mannerisms, his slang, it just made me feel really good. Number 3 is cooking or eating comfort food. So comfort food for me is home cooked food. I've said this before, my mum is of Italian descent, so her parents immigrated from Italy in the 1950s, and my mum was born in Australia, but we grew up eating a lot of Italian food. So my favourite comfort food to cook is lasagna. I have stopped eating meat like a year and a half ago, and I eat this really, really good plant-based meat alternative by the company Blue Tribe. I'll put the link in the description. And they have like a plant-based chicken or plant-based mutton mince kind of thing. And yeah, I make lasagna with that, and it is so good. And so yeah, when I'm feeling homesick, I'll cook lasagna, sometimes just like roast potatoes. So I remember my nonna, my Italian grandma, cooking like roast potatoes. And yeah, that is like something that I will have anytime I'm feeling homesick. Vegemite, my cupboard is full of Vegemite. Mum even brought a couple of extra tubes when she came to visit. So I'll make like Vegemite and cheese toasted, like grilled sandwiches or toasted sandwiches, or just Vegemite on toast. But yeah, just kind of cooking comfort food, and I'm always on the lookout of trying to find Australian products or Australian food or things I used to eat in Australia, because it really does help a lot. Again, I've talked about this in one of my videos of what I eat in a day. And I really don't eat a lot of Indian food, like one meal a day. The rest is kind of Western. But sometimes I really just feel like Australian condiments, like herbs, spices, that sort of thing. So I do try and keep those kind of things in my cupboard or pantry, whether I get them on Amazon or whether they get sent to me by friends and family, which leads into the next one, number 4, getting care packages from home or buying things online. So it's not always easy to get care packages sent from other countries, because in India you generally have to pay huge amounts of customs charges and fees, and it's not consistent. But for some reason, when I get things sent from Australia Post, which is the national courier company in Australia, I don't have to pay customs when they come. So I've had a lot of care packages sent where I remember one of my really, really dearest friends, she sent me my first care package for my birthday last year. And it just was full of like chocolate chips, candies, or lollies, we call them in Australia. Even just like face masks and beauty products that are from Australia. Those kind of things just kind of gave me this feeling of comfort. And yeah, helps so much. Then for Christmas last year, my mum sent me a care package of all these sorts of Christmas decorations, Australian themed. Really funny. She bought me this one hand towel, which I use for the gym, and it's a Christmas one, but the towel itself was made in India. But yeah, I think my sisters sent me things, my brother. So yeah, getting care packages sent is amazing. And when mum came to visit me in May, she brought like a whole suitcase of stuff for me. Just like comfort. Mostly it's just like food, candy, chips or crisps. What else did she bring? A bunch of stuff that I'd actually bought that was cheaper there, and then she brought it here. But yeah. There is one website there's an app too. I'll put that in the description. I forget the name of it now, but I'll add it on here. And mostly it's like American and Canadian candies and snacks and foreign foods, but they do have some Australian things like Tim Tams and some chocolate. I haven't ordered from them yet because I kept getting deliveries from my family. But yeah, it's a little bit expensive, but if you're willing to pay a bit more for a taste of home, it's definitely worth it. So I'll put that on the screen and in the description too. Last but not least, number 5 is looking back on old memories. So I love just going through old photos, videos, memories of different places. I have an Australian vision board, which is the background of on my phone, of places that I want to visit when I visit Australia, when I go back to Australia for a vacation. And I just really think about just all the memories I made, memories with my friends, my family, all the good times. Sometimes it makes me feel a little bit worse because it makes me miss Australia so much. But at the same time, it does make me happy knowing that I have those memories and that I get to call Australia home as well, because it's such a beautiful country. I guess you could also tie in with this talking to family and friends. So calling up a friend I haven't spoke to in a long time. Just on the weekend, my friend who sent me my first care package just out of the blue FaceTimed me, and my God, it was so special. We haven't spoken for quite a long time. Like, we text occasionally, but she's just one of those people that, you know, you can just pick up a conversation where you left off. And we've been friends for, what year is it, 2022? God, we've been friends for almost 10 years, I think. And yeah, just being able to talk to her on video call, it just felt like nothing had changed. So yeah, when I'm feeling homesick, I do love to just reach out to an old friend or organize a video call with a friend and just catch up. And it really does make a world of difference. All right, so that's my 5 ways that I try and overcome homesickness. Let me know what you think. What are your thoughts? If you are a foreigner living in India, or even just someone that's not living in your home country or even your home city, let me know, what do you do when you're feeling homesick? Because I'm always looking for new ideas. I think this feeling is probably always going to be there well, even if I moved back to Australia, I would feel homesick for India. So it's one of those things that it's just probably always going to happen now. So yes, let me know any suggestions, what you do to combat the homesickness. I would love to hear it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.